go to summer, autumn, rural. Okay. So I'm just going to show you the grid. So if you see this and you come here and you see the grid. And so I'm going to just talk from an artistic point of view. I had an early career, and there's actually somebody on our who joined us tonight I haven't seen in decades until last week that I worked with. I used to design what was then called multimedia shows. This is before computers, guys. They were big slideshows, multi-screen. And it was always about your imagery and how things looked against each other. So when I put this together, I want to balance the colors, okay? So now I'm going to take you through this exhibit and tell you where I am. I rented a place up in Lake Placid, and I just was so thrilled to get out to the Adirondacks and the fresh air. So this is shot then in July, and I'm going to blow this up. So I used two little apps on this one. Okay. So what you're seeing here is my shadow in a field, and I saturated the colors more, and I used another app that actually put the birds in. The birds were not there. And if you can see here, it sort of has a crackly little folds here. I added a texture that I threw over the whole image. And so obviously what caught my attention is we're looking at this sort of 1-point perspective over to the field, and there I am. And I thought, wow, all right, I like that. And I love green. Green is by far my favorite color. So I just loved the pathway there, the horizon sprinkled with the trees, the sky, and then I threw in some birds. Okay, so this is upstate New York. I went back to New York in October, and I was so eager to see the leaves changing. And I rented a car and I went up north, and there they are. I mean, is this not gorgeous? Look how, there's nothing more gorgeous than nature, right? I mean, it's pretty amazing. Look at how vibrant these leaves are. And what caught my attention here from an artistic point of view is I loved how the branches they're kind of horizontal. So they're sort of horizontal running through the frame, sprinkled with these beautiful orange leaves now against this blue sky. And then we have the verticals of this kind of wheat looking grass. And then we also have the background here of the little dabs of green. Okay, I don't know who's been up to Lake Placid, but in Lake Placid, if you go to the main village, the lake is called Mirror Lake. So this is Mirror Lake, and I think because it's almost like you can see your reflection. So the water's pretty cold there. It's really, you're up high in the Adirondacks, but paddle boarding was pretty popular. And I just loved the sky. As you see, it's all lit up as the sun is setting, and seeing the people out. Of course, the woman here with her little peach color bikini, and her guys taking her out. They're not standing at this moment. Yeah, so, okay. Okay, I love this. So this Mirror Lake, it's very common, I'm gonna blow this up, to take a walk around it. They have you could just walk around it. So a lot of people do this. And so I, every day, did a walk around the lake. And this capture caught my attention because of the Adirondack chairs, the red Adirondack chairs, and the red outlines of this house with the flower beds here. And of course we have our flag. So that caught my attention. And then it's framed on either side with these trees, and the verticals of the trees. So I just thought it was like a really nice slice of life photograph or capture of this is what life looks like. This is, it's not with people, but you can kind of feel as if people were there. And this is like a little fire pit. Yeah, it's so serene and peaceful. And this is Lake Placid. So on the other side of they're almost back to back. Lake Mirror is Lake Placid. And I love the colors now. It just got so pastel. You know, there are those times when the sun is setting and you're seeing pinks and peach and all those shades, and that was happening, and then it was reflecting on the water, and it's just so peaceful. I mean, Lake Placid, that's pretty peaceful, right? Right there, just the word placid. And I have to tell you, just leaving the confines of New York City and being in this peaceful place and breathing was so healing. This is Woodstock, and the sun is setting, so you see how brightly lit this building is. It's the sun is aimed right on this building. I just loved, this is kind of a capture of a moment in time. Two people hanging out here. I don't know if they thought they were in the shade or not, but they're not really covered in the shade. And a woman on the phone, and here we are. It's COVID. People outside with their mask. Yeah, so I just like this slice of life. Here's a little realty office, and obviously it's a two-story building. And look at this. This is a peace sign. I mean, when we think about Woodstock, what do we think of, right? So I'm happy that we have a peace sign here. Okay, so I drove around quite a bit when I was up in the Lake Placid area, and I just love these abandoned buildings. Look at this leather shop. I can't even read it. It says something special for 20 something for $8. Oh, propane, I think. Could that be right? And it says leather, but just it's so expressive. I mean, it's just nestled there on the side of the road, and it's framed by these green trees, and that the backdrop is this textured blue sky, and then we have the horizontal you can see it was a wet day, right? The road here is wet, and you see the double line is kind of fading, and just sort of tucked in there. And look at these buildings that probably have a story to tell, oh, this is beer, right? So, who was there? When were they there? What was the life like there? And here they're just abandoned old buildings that have a personality, that are nestled here on the side of the road. And look at the different colors here. I like the blue, the turquoise, this color. Okay. And this was a walk around Lake Placid, and I always see colors, and I see shapes, and I see textures. And I just thought this was so pretty, these beautiful flowers that are out and bloomed, and the different colors, the pink, the darker, the magenta, and the yellow. And then we have the foreground, the background of the lake behind us. This is Lake Mirror Lake, actually, when I did my daily walk around the lake. Okay, so Lake Placid has a golf course that is pretty popular. So I don't play golf, but I just went up there to photograph, and this is just the view looking out at the golf course. And at this point you probably realize why I love this shot. I'm looking out here, these kind of frame it, right? The fence frames it, and our eyes pull through here. And then we have the layers of the sky, of the mountains and the sky and the clouds. And again, it's the same. I just enhanced the color. I just saturated a little bit more, and I just love the colors. It's very golden, and the clouds in the background. Okay, so this was shot. So Storm King, I'm sure there are people here that have heard of Storm King, and that other shot I showed you was here. Storm King is I would say a sculpture garden, but it's far bigger than a sculpture garden. It's far bigger than a garden. It's huge, and it's an exhibition, and they have unbelievable sculptures, huge sculptures from people that you would know. And it's fields and fields of sculpture. You could just walk and walk, and you can rent a bike to go around. And So it was a wonderful day. And yes, and so, gee, look at nature. I mean, I decided to focus in my exhibit on nature, not on the sculptures. So as you can see here, how look how these are sort of lit up, right? They're sort of lit up on the top because of the sun. And then we have this big bold bark of the tree with all the textures, and then this beautiful, the leaves are just so beautiful now in orange and with the wheat. So this was shot at the same time, and I just shot a different angle of what you saw earlier. Okay, so the Tappan Zee Bridge, so for those who live in New York, the Tappan Zee Bridge connects, this is over the Hudson River, and it connects Westchester with Rockland County. So they actually took down the Tappan Zee Bridge and they built a brand new bridge that they named after Mario Como. And so take a look at this, which is, was Andrew Cuomo's father. So this is the brand new bridge, and I guess they dynamited and took down the old one. And where I'm standing and shooting is from Nyack. So for those New Yorkers who know it, or people who know New York. So I'm over in Nyack and I'm down actually on the waterfront of the Hudson River. And right, it's the sun is setting and the sun just does magic. And look at that, what it does to the fence. Look how it lights it up and makes it golden. And I was just drawn to the zigzag, right? Look what we have going here, the zigzag of the fence. And then we have the bridge here. And then the sky, the texture of the sky. It was so expressive. Okay. This was an excruciatingly hot day, everybody. I went over to, when I was in Lake Placid, I crossed Lake Champlain, which is huge, but there are bridges or ferries you can take over. And I went kayaking, and it was a really, really hot day. And what caught my attention was this, it looks like giant driftwood sitting in the water. And I just thought it looked almost kind of like a sculpture, right? And here we have a kayaker off in the background. And what I did is I fed this image into a filter to create the little textures that you probably see, like the whole texture over the whole picture. Okay, so I don't know who knows about Saranac Lake. It's a really interesting place. And I went up, I wanted to shoot at sunset, and I found this, someone pointed me to this road. I went up this hill and I started walking, and there was this beautiful remains of a farmhouse. And I thought, I just captured it. And it just caught my attention again. I loved the shape of it, the dabs of red sprinkling, and their perspective, including the road that I was walking on. Okay, this is a general store. I threw this in here. It wasn't from this trip, but it was in Tennessee. And wow, this is in the deep south of Tennessee. And I have to just tell you, there's a lot of rundown buildings there. By the way, back in the day, before manufacturing went off to China, this is where a lot of clothing was manufactured. I know I had relatives that used to go down to the south, and you'll see these abandoned manufacturing plants, and many of them have Jewish names, but they're completely abandoned because the industry just went abroad. And this is obviously an abandoned old general store that completely caught my attention, but the area is quite depressed. Sad. Okay, this is from that same walk that I showed you before. And yeah, I don't know what more to say because you probably know what I'm going to say is the fence, the perspective leading back to this road, the shapes of the barns, you know, the red rusty look and the light hitting it, and then the mountains framing the back. Ah, okay. So this was actually in December. I had to go up to New York for bring my mother to New York, and I was on Long Island. And this is Cold Spring Harbor. If anybody here knows about Long Island, and actually, this is the parking lot of a church. And this is not sunset. This is early morning, and I loved how the light was hitting the trees and lighting them up. I just thought this was very magical. The church is over here. Yeah, and this just really captured my attention. I thought it was a beautiful moment. Ah, okay. I went to visit a friend in Woodstock, and his house is up on the top of a mountain there, and he has a friend living there. He's got this sculpture, and I just thought how great it is that he's got this sculpture of this person looking, and I just thought how brilliant that he put this sculpture right by the window as if this person is looking at the window. And this is towards the end of the day. I just loved it. So, okay. Uh-huh. Okay, so this is Fern Lake. This is also up in the Adirondacks. And I visited some people. So around the lake, they call them camps, but they're like people's little homes. And most of them just come there in the summer, and they, come there for generations. And I was visiting a family that, they grew up going there, and they're my age now. So it's been for a long, long time. And this is out on the pier where they live. And this was a old Adirondack chair, pretty beat up. And I just, got behind it and shot it so that it would be the foreground of the picture, and you would get to see all the textures. And the chair to me is so incredibly expressive. You see all the paint and whatnot on the back, and it's very worn out. And yeah, it's had a nice long life, this chair. And look at that sky. Okay, so this is when I went to Storm King, and this is an old bridge. I think it's a non-working bridge. I think it was a railroad bridge back in the day. And the sky was so expressive. So I pulled over and grabbed this capture. And again, those you have the horizontal of the train, and then a little dabs of color in the front, right, with some of these leaves and flowers. And the sky is so overpowering. I mean, it's a force, right? That really your eye goes right to that sky. I just thought this was really funny. So this is in October, right? Everybody's, everybody's thinking about our next election. It was probably in my lifetime, the most important election of my lifetime. And this is in the Woodstock area. And I thought, wow, now that's pretty neat. This person built this sign to get out and vote because, that was so important that this election that we all get out and vote. And what's that? I just loved seeing this sign in this person's property. And again, I captured this when the sun was setting, and I decided to capture getting the foreground of the fence because I like the angles and the lighting of it. Okay. And this is back to Storm King, where these colors, the colors were just so vibrant. It's almost hard to believe they were so bright, but it's so rich. I love color. When I was back in the day doing photography, when I was young, it was all black and white, but I used to underexpose the pictures when I was printing them. And then I bought Marshall oils. I would underexpose these images. Okay, I think that's it. And I'm going to bring us back. I'm going to stop sharing screen. I would bring back these, I would underexpose the pictures and then I would paint them with heavy paints.
Thank you for watching this virtual walkthrough. All my fine art photographs are for sale and are signed limited edition archival prints. As an artist and empath who connects with my subjects, I'm also doing commissioned portraits. For further information, please contact me at gayle@gaylekirschenbaum.com. Thank you.